Hello everybody, today I'm back with another video, and this time I'm at Houston Karting Complex. I know it's a bit different. I'm not at NOLA Motorsports, I'm not at K1 Speed, so that's pretty different from my regular videos. But this track is about 5.5 to 6 hours away from New Orleans, and I was just out here because I had family to visit, and while I was out here I wanted to go to one of the local kart tracks. So here you see me, I decided to let one of the other drivers go, and that's very important because this other driver is one of the employees who works here, and he said he's been a local at the track for about 3 years. So I wanted to compare myself to him, and as you can see, he's kind of pulling away from me a bit straight out the gate, but I just wanted to follow his line, follow him as closely as possible, and try my absolute best to keep up with him. And not only keep up with him, I wanted to battle him. So for some context, this is only my second ever session at this track. I did one session before this, and that session was pretty boring, so I'm not really gonna leave it in here. I was just using it to learn the track, but I mean, in the second session at a brand new track, I'm obviously still gonna be learning lines, braking points, and things like that. But there you saw that out of the final two corners, I caught up to him a bit, so I wanted to keep that in mind. And here I close up on the brakes, but then going into the turn, I kind of clipped the apex a bit. Like, I clipped the curb too hard, and what that did was it unsettled my kart and made me lose a lot of time. So now I'm just thinking to myself how I need to put my head down so that I can catch back up to him and get this battle on the road. But again, I make a big mistake. I understeer kind of wide of the apex, and then that kind of leaves me vulnerable on exit, so he pulls away. But then again, under the braking zone, I catch up to him, and there is a very different line. He takes more of a shallow line through those two corners, and I took more of a wide line, and what that did was allow me to close up on him because there's a long straightaway right here, and I set myself up for about 4 or 5 corners before. So that's one thing that you have to learn in karting. But here I decided to go for the move since it was pretty much wide open, but I didn't slow the kart down enough on the apex, and he pulled off a very nice switchback on me. Props to him. I mean, that was a textbook switchback. But now I'm just thinking, alright, I have the pace to be able to overtake him, and I also have the pace to be able to keep up with him. And right there you see I clipped the curb just a tad bit and try to go up his inside, but it doesn't happen. He shuts the door, and again I close up to him on the brakes, and you can see the massive difference in lines that we take. You can see just how much I close up to him in these final two corners. And you see I let him go out wide, and I slow down just a tad bit before going into the corner. Then I speed up and go underneath him, and I take the position. So I'm not defending through this corner because I made a good pass on him, and he couldn't really overtake me back because he was just a tad bit too far away from where I was. So there you see I took the apex very nicely. That's gonna help me pull away from him. So now I'm just thinking to myself how I have to pull away and be as consistent as I possibly can. But right as I say that, I undermine myself by missing the apex, and then he gets on the inside of me. So now coming into this corner, I'm trying to defend, but I let him through, take a bit too much curb, and that kind of ruins my momentum. But then I come back and try to make another overtake, and I get it done through the final two corners. And now running along the straightaway, you can see that I'm kind of messing around with the seat belts. This kart had a very bad seat belt, but I'm looking back because he's right on my bumper. I go for a very defensive line, slow down as much as I possibly can, and then he comes around the outside, overtakes me on the grass, shoves me out wide just a tad bit, but I let him take too much entry speed into the corner, and what I decide to do is pull off a nice switchback move, and that gives me the position yet again in this race. So now I'm in first place. Again, like I said earlier, my goal is just to be as consistent as I possibly can, hit all my markers, and even though it's a different track, same concepts still apply. You have to hit your apexes, you have to take as much speed as you can out of the corners, slow in, fast out, same concepts still apply like I said. So there you see I get a pretty decent run out of that corner. Look behind me, can't see that he's there, but I'm sure that he's catching me back up on the straightaway due to the slipstream effect. I don't go defensive, but he sends it down the inside and just gets it parked at the apex and doesn't allow for me to do a switchback, so that's very good overtaking from him. That was a textbook move and exactly how it needs to be done. So now I'm on the rear bumper of him, just pushing him, and he opens up for the corner. So I decide to take my opportunity and dive up the inside. And now you can see that we're side by side. I'm not exactly side by side with him, but I just decided to go as late as possible on the brakes and then try to close off the corner. But he comes through and he runs out wide a ton. And what I do is I just, again, perform a very textbook switchback and take the position right back from him. But here you see we're passing a back marker. I'm adjusting my seatbelts again on this long straightaway, and I decide to go defensive because what he does is he goes all the way to the outside, so I decide to protect the bottom and protect the inside, and it works. But he's able to get a good run on me since he was able to take the outside line, and he gets the move done going into, I think that's turn 3. But anyways, I'm pushing him, trying my absolute best to make a move on him. I do a little bit of a bump and run, but I let him have the position back because that was kind of a dirty move. But he goes down and blocks really low and then slides up the track, and then I let him go deep again, but I took a bit of a wide line through there, and what that did was I was on the dirty part of the track, so I had absolutely no grip on the dirty part of the track, and it just again compounds into me losing even more time. And you can see this is about the furthest he's been all race, so it's going to be a big challenge for me to catch back up to him. And now you can see that in that hairpin, I didn't lose too much time. The gap stayed about the same, but coming through, I think that's turn 3, I gained just about maybe 1.5, 2 kart lengths. And again, like I said, being consistent is what gets you closer to people. If you can do 5 good laps in a row instead of doing 1 great lap and 4 okay laps, you're gonna be able to catch up to people. And there you can see I caught up to that massive gap that happened within 1 lap, and I'm even setting up for the overtake, and it happens right there. I overtake him and I get the move done going into this long straightaway. So now what I want to do is defend this position like my life depends on it. Really, I want to win this race. So you see I defend all the way down, and he doesn't get the switchback on me because I just basically park it on the apex. And then coming into turn 3, you see I again just park it completely on the apex so he can't get a switchback on me. That's very important. If you're trying to defend from a switchback, you just want to park it on the apex like I did yet again there. But he still was able to get it done because I took way too little speed going into that corner. But you see he blocks all the way down low, and then he comes back up, and that allows me to get a very good run coming onto this sort of mini straightaway. And then I'm able to take the position back yet again, going into what's looking like my favorite 2 overtaking spots. So now you can see I'm passing yet another back marker who just so happens to be my little brother. And I look back and he goes for yet another big sin, and I'm able to get a half switchback on him, but coming into turn 3, I'm looking to do a switchback. He steps out going into that turn, and I'm able to get it done completely. And now we're side by side going into this like sort of mini right-hander. It's flat out. It's kind of a straightaway. But anyways, I'm able to get the move done, and now he's behind me. So yet again, what I want to do is just defend like my life depends on it, because we're the only two in this race. So defending's not really gonna hurt anyone. So now I'm just again focusing on pulling away, and if he gets close, then I'm focusing on defending. But that ended up being the checkered flag, and I was happy about it. You know, it showed great sportsmanship, and that's the end of it. I mean, it was a great battle. The time flew by. I had an amazing time, and yet again, if you're ever in Texas, I highly recommend checking this track out. The layout's really fun, and with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Gotta give me a better time than that, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's my first time here. Yeah, that's good. No, not everybody's in yet, so chill. Not everybody's in here. Not. Alright, now we're done. Don't get up though. We'll just wait for them. Bro, I got that all on video.
You can definitely tell that part is much better to the right-hand corners.
Was this one?
Yeah. This one is kind of...
Yeah.
What?
I think you were trying to get too much rotation.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting in the braking phases.
Also, the difference between the two. For 3, it definitely handles a lot better.
Yeah, 3
definitely has a little bit more top
3 has
end.
a little more top end. Here we go.
Yeah.
A little better.